But me love it when you set it so good. Yeah, stay in my arms, girl. Yeah, so you feel that. Stay in my arms, girl. Yeah, so you feel that. Come me love it when you whisper in my ears. Me love the touch. Love it when you whisper in my ears. Me love the touch.
The real Batman Bidding, Daniel and DJ Shady. OMG in the morning on 106.9.
That's how we do, bang. Let's make sure that you're on the inside and everything is still legit. There you go.
Yeah, am I here?
Yes, you are. it looks and sounds like
I've
that.
got something I wanna deal with before Doc come. I might go dark for a bit, so pull me out, Mario.
Okay. All right. If you're out like that, we won't hear you. He's completely off the grid here. Do you have any comments there?
I'm trying to.
For me that. And of course, we got to apologize to the guys on Facebook that we lost that feed just now. Apologies to you.
Something you did, something Mario did,
or didn't do.
That could be it too. Well, you see, I'm trying to find the previous one.
Something Shady did. That's right. That is correct. All right.
Do we have a voice note?
We do have a voice note. Marlon voice noted us.
Listen, the fact of the matter is that whether we like it or not, that the pursuit of tertiary education, working in an environment for a number of years, all those things, experience, education, they help to give people credibility on a particular matter, on a particular subject area. So that's why you would find that Dr. Richards, has credibility on some issues, or more credibility, as I should say, on some issues, because he also comes in for a lot of flack, as is necessary from time to time, and so on. But let's not just make it look as if people accept things willy-nilly because somebody has an education or a particular job. It's because the education and that job are in a particular field, which necessarily, by the very nature, lend more credibility to people. Simple as that.
Thanks a lot, Marlon.
I want to deal with something with our volcano. I know we got 5 minutes before we get to Dr. Richard, so I may go dark.
Okay.
So.
Yep, there you are.
There's a story that I found on one of the online news blogs.
Mm-hmm.
It says, let me see. We need to keep an eye on La Soufrière, says volcanologist. As Dr. Thomas Christopher, a volcanologist from Montserrat, comes to the end of his stint this week as lead scientist for La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He says the effusive eruption must continue to be monitored. In his latest interview with the UWI Seismic Research Center for La Soufrière today, Christopher said he came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the mindset of being able to do the exact same kind of thing in Montserrat, but St. Vincent volcano has proven him wrong. The volcanologist says La Soufrière system is quite different, as well as its signals, and he had to adjust what he did in Montserrat to fit St. Vincent eruptions. He also shared the message which he got from observing the volcano. He said, and I'm quoting him, we need to keep an eye on it because we are not quite sure what is going on, what it is going to do, and we need to keep monitoring it and react accordingly based on what we have seen. Yeah. I thought that's quite interesting, guys. And that We as a nation needs to hear that. We need to keep an eye on what is happening at our volcano. Um, I don't know how we do that. In other words, I think that he's saying we need to be prepared at all times. Dan?
I've seen some photos that were taken this month of the dome. It definitely has grown. I see that Nemo, they're still putting information up on their Facebook page, their Instagram. I always encourage people, just follow them directly so that whenever they make an update, you can see it for yourself. I think it's important that while we're going through whatever crisis may arise at the given time, which for the past month or however long it's been that we had the surge in cases during COVID, that we still have to keep up to date with whatever updates they're providing for us as well, because it is still something that is ongoing. We don't have an all clear. So it's important that even if it's easy to do it when you just follow them on Instagram or on Facebook, because these are apps that you're on anyway, and it can definitely help you to be up to date on everything that's happening. So if you're not following them, just go on Instagram, look for them. Go on Facebook
And on
right now. You're
Facebook.
on Facebook right now.
Yes.
You can just go give them like the page so that you can see that information pop up in your feed. That's one of the ways that you can always have that information right on hand.
And I think the pandemic, the vaccine, whether to take it or not to take it, has been taken center stage with regards to the news and discussion site. A friend of mine told me every single church in St. Vincent and the Grenadines had something about the vaccine last Sunday. That we still need to keep our lasso free on the front burner. Just for information purpose, our activation level is still at orange. It is not dropped. We're still at the orange level. So getting that information from that volcanologist that we need to keep an eye on it is very important, guys. We really have to still be very alert, be prepared, like the good scout. We have to be prepared. We got to keep an eye out, that mindset that it's still there. We need to always be prepared. How do we keep an eye out? I don't know. I don't know, Mario.
Well, Daniel gave some great ways for us to keep an eye out by following the reputable agencies to make sure that the information that you get is firsthand from those agencies, and get yourself prepared. Have a disaster plan, have an evacuation plan if you need to, have a muster point that you can meet up with the folks that are near and dear to you, and keep them safe as well too. You have to be doing that.
Water storage, very important as well.
That to me is the most
Water stored.
There you go. All right, it's time for us to touch base with the doc.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
Time for us to calm down, get a whole new perspective. It's coming full circle. Dr. Richards is going to come and enlighten us, give us some takeaways. Hopefully, you heard some things that made him think, made him go today. If you're trying to call us, please leave the phone lines clear. We're making way for Dr. Richards. Do we have any comments or responses before we get into the doc? No?
Go ahead.
No. All right. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Mario.
How are you today, my friend?
I'm not at my usual energy level, I guess. I stayed up late last night working on the sermon for Sunday at Kingston Baptist Church. So that usually takes quite a lot of time and research and thinking. This Sunday sermon, by the way, we've been doing a series related to all that we are going through. Things like going through the valley of the shadow of death. God is a way maker. that kind of way, you know. But this week is going to be bigger than all my problems. I would encourage, because this is not physical gathering, I would encourage as many persons as possible to tune in on Sunday morning, and join the service and hear that word, bigger than all my problems. Kingston Baptist Church on Facebook, kingstonbaptistchurch.com, kbc.com, and KBC Online on our webpage. Easy to find. We are also on YouTube. But join for that sermon, bigger than all my problems. But I put in hours. I wrote about 17 pages of stuff, and got to get ready, because I always say, if you're going to feed people, don't feed them trash. Feed people well, and I believe in that as an educator. So when you see from Kingston Baptist Church, we put stuff out there. We really, want to take the time to be sure it is good stuff that we put on the table.
All right. And you've got a whole studio full of folks here, huh? So we've got Bing, we've got Daniel.
Bing. Good morning, Bing. Good morning, Bing.
Morning, Doc. Morning.
Bing, again, I hope that you're processing well with your uncle. I am. Okay. Well, okay. I know you, Bing. So I know that these things hit you hard. I mean,
oh yeah.
Forgive me for saying that, but you are a feeling kind of person, despite the image you put out, and I know these things. As your pastor, I know these things really get to you. So, all right.
And thank you for reaching out to me, Doc. I appreciate it.
Yes. We're gonna leave it there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Mario usually, I told Mario, ask me the question, but you didn't ask me. So, what do you want me to do, Mario?
I want to know what you heard on Boom that made you think, that made you go, Too much.
Yeah, this morning. I don't even know where to begin, but because I have limited time, this whole notion, let me encapsulate it with one thought, I think, that I kept hearing, the idea that truth is a shifting target. That you can make truth what you want it to be, and you could convince people of your truth, and this whole thing of not something that is, this is absolute truth, but this is your truth, this is my truth. I've got the experts to back up my truth, you've got the experts to back up your truth, which is right. So this is a very important point for reflection and consideration that Boom is bringing out here, because people want truth, but it is hard to discern truth. Mario, before a few years ago, I spent a year or two or three lecturing in philosophy, which I mean, by choice, I wanted to first of all study it, and then I wanted to I got the opportunity to do some lectures in philosophy. And one of the key concepts and stuff one of the key themes that I lectured on, one particular lecture was on how do we determine what is right. What I heard on this morning, for example, from Bing is that might is right. And that was one of the considerations we had, whether might was actually right, whether the power, the structure, and all that goes with the world bodies and their sphere of influence, is because they have that makes them right. And that brings me back to a discussion I had with my astronomy professor, one of the 5 most brilliant men in the world at that time. But I took time to go visit him and talk with him. And he was deep in science, obviously being an astronomy professor. And I challenged some of his concepts and thoughts about the origins of the universe and where we were headed and all of that. And he kept telling me it is science. And I said to him, but science has been wrong on major things so often. I pointed to him not ethnocentric, geocentric universe, and then the era of the geocentric universe, where the Earth is the center of the universe. And again, I said, well, look, they have been wrong with that too. Then I pointed to Copernicus. What was his book on orbs and revolutions of orbs and all of that? And this whole idea of the heliocentric universe where the Earth is no longer the center of the universe. You know what I mean? And these are all scientists, you know. Copernicus proposed this theory. Brilliant guy, and at his time of writing, it started the Copernican revolution there, the Copernicus revolution. That the heliocentric universe, the sun is the center of the universe, and that became foundational and science of the day. And then I said to him, Tesla was his name. I said to him, and I appreciate the fact that he entertained me as a student, challenging him. But that was me in university, right through. I challenged him. I said, and then look, but Copernicus has been displaced. His notion, his theory that had held sway for all these years, for decades, heliocentric universe. So we know the universe has no center. Science has a way of disproving itself. His response to me was absolutely brilliant. Because I questioned him, I said, science has been wrong, and I proved to him science has been wrong over and over and over again. And his response to me was, yeah, but we had to be wrong in order to move towards right. He said, we build on the shoulders of people who thought it was geocentric. If we didn't have that platform, we could not get to heliocentric, and then we could not get to where we are today, where we don't really know that there is a center of the universe. Science builds upon what science has before, and there will be errors in science. We have to acknowledge that. The other thought, might is right, and backing up your truth with experts. You may not know this, but I had a graduate fellowship, which is a coveted position. I had a graduate fellowship at a private university, which means that I got to work with professors, and part of my role was to grade research papers for the professors, and specifically to grade sources, what we call bibliographical references. So I spent quite some time doing that, and sometimes students will have 20, 30, 40, 50 pages of references. And the substance of your paper, what I was doing, the substance of your paper basically was determined by the veracity of your references. And so I had to check all of your references to see whether they were sound, if you were packing your references. And all of the references were bona fide, mind you. But if I thought that this reference is spurious, this is not expert, this is not that, I'd cross it out in a heartbeat. And so I have, through that process, I have learned that not every reference to a reference, if you follow me, not every indication, not every point into a reference is bona fide and substantiate what you're going to say. Truth, listen, experts produce what they are paid to produce. I have followed the arguments from scientists, top-notch people on the matter of coal, right? And depending on the political sway, you could have one argument on what coal is doing to the greenhouse effect, or the other. On global warming, you have experts that would say one thing, you have experts that would say the other thing. Same thing with oil, even something as simple as milk. They were on different sides of the fence on that. Egg. I love eggs from my head down to my legs, and then somebody come around with... Experts will always produce what they're paid to produce. So I am very skeptical. This is just me as a professional in my academia. I am very, very skeptical of and my choice of experts. For example, when I do teach students, I tell them, don't just Google things and give it to me for a reference. In fact, if you Google stuff and give it to me for a reference, I have this habit of running a red line through your Google sources. Yes, go ahead.
Your belief must be based in something, though.
Being your internal philosophical argument, we don't have the time, but one of the I went back to Plato, all right, and Plato's cave dark and caves and all of it. I went back to Socrates, and the Socratic method is something. Let me just put that out there. Look up the Socratic method, which I thought was a good way of testing truth. the socialist dialectic, which is also a method of inquiry response. And you have particularly the Socratic method and the dialectic teaches that they will both teach you that you don't ever assume that you have arrived at truth, but you are in a process of refining and getting to truth. So being I hope that answers you. I mean, you are convinced of your beliefs, but somebody else is convinced of their belief. And so back it up with sources, but know that there are going to be discerning people out there who are going to trash your source and say that. For example, me, I had, as a teacher, lecturer, I had a habit of trashing sources and saying that won't do. Come up with something better. Give me something more expert. When I teach, for example, if somebody is sending a master's paper to me, all right, listen to me, hear me through this, right? And it's a dissertation. One of the key things that I pay attention to is what is called the methodology. Yeah, literature review and all of that, but I pay attention to methodology because I know enough to know that I can tweak methodology to produce the result I want. So I pay particular attention to methodology. Second to that, you pay attention to peer review because peer review will dissect your methodology in a heartbeat. So there are many papers out there that can say this or can say that. But it takes people who have the vetting system or the eyes or the expertise to tear apart paper and know this is to some people that's a great paper. I can quote from that, I can use that. But if it ever comes to me, I'll destroy it because I'm like, that's trash. The methodology is shot. So I said that to say that while some people swallow things and this is expert and this is truth and I'm running with it, I am saying to some people, we are like, yeah, right. Okay, so let me. No. You see, one last thing, because this became very evident in the U.S. election. The ability, because the awareness that people don't know what is truth, and people are not discerning enough. Outside players, let me put it that way, made significant attempts to influence the belief patterns and mindset of U.S. voters by using the social media tool, realizing that, look, people are gullible. People don't know what is truth. We could influence them. And I'm not getting into it, but you all know, everybody listening to me know that significant attempts successfully were made to influence the mind and the thinking of U.S. voters. Is not limited to that. Just about anything, you can influence the mind of people and what they believe by what you put out. Let me stop there because that's not what I came on to say. My time is gone, so let me say this very quickly. Very, very quickly. As a relationship counselor, and I'm saying this because of Lent, if you notice my pattern, I'm trying to bring something refreshing every day in the season of Lent. As a relationship counselor, there are three things that I teach in relationship. I call them the big three in relationships. Mario, you know what? If Kenson can do it, I can do it too. I will send it to you and you can put it on the thing. Right?
Yes, sir.
The three things are, number one, these are I really teach these because they help me in the sense that if people practice these, less people come to me for relationship counseling. Number one, be quick to apologize for your mistake. You ain't God. No matter how you make mistakes, sometimes we are blind to our own mistakes. Be quick to apologize for your mistakes. If somebody points something out to you, don't go defend. We get too defensive. Just look, I'm sorry. Number two, be quick to forgive. Sometimes people wrong you and they don't even know that they wrong you and they weren't setting out to wrong you and they hurt you and da-da-da. What? No, you had to be quick.
I struggle with that one, Doc.
Yeah, but I look at it from the perspective that you are Bing, I'm glad you said that because that's a Bing that was, a lot of people, but you have the courage to say struggle with it because people do hurt you, but you do yourself because a lot of times what I tell them is that the people who hurt you don't even think about you and they move on and you're the one that's struggling with it still. Release yourself from that by forgiving. Tyler Perry had a good piece on the value of forgiving people. And then the last thing, that's the three things. The last one I said, be kind. Be kind whether somebody deserves it or not. Now, the reason I can say this the way I'm saying it is because I practice these things of apologizing, of being quick to forgive, and people don't have to deserve kindness to be kind to them. It really is very catalytic in relationships. Trust me, to be kind to people. I have proven it. This is Lent. These three things, practice them and see if it don't make your relationships better. Be quick to apologize, forgive others, and be kind. If you have time, read Romans 12, 14 to 21, especially verse 17 and on, which says, don't repay evil for evil. Stop it, man. Live at peace with everybody. Whether you're a politician or not, live at peace. Don't take revenge. Don't get back at people. Don't. Somebody out there needs to hear that. Don't get back at somebody who said something on Facebook or this or that. Leave it alone. What are you going to stir it up for? Leave it.
You hearing, Pastor? You hear, Pastor Kenson? That's for you.
Oh gosh.
Lord, Bing, leave me alone, man. And then this is the part I like, because I'm wrapping up here. This is the part I like. Don't be negatively changed by evil, but overcome.
What I mean, Doc?
It means that sometimes when people do you evil, it changes you.
Don't let the circumstance change your
Don't
light.
Don't let what let me go at Bing, because you went at don't let what Bing stir up and this and that and that. Don't go. Don't let it change you. Don't let it change how you feel. Because I'm a counselor, I know that tendency of criticism to change your makeup, your view. It makes you dark.
Right.
You can't be overcome by that. You should actually keep on doing good, and that way you overcome the evil. And the one that Bing doesn't like, bless those who persecute you. It's not that you just numb. It's like you go out of your way. If they get in at you, you go out of your way to be kind and to bless them. Bing, these are good things, and they are from undisputable. Truth, absolute truth. And I trust it. So I hope you guys will practice that. I hope that every day that I say something. Go ahead.
I'll work on the other two of them. No, I can't promise you.
Work on all three. Bing, I know you trust me. Work on all three. Your relationship will be better. All right? Have a good day. It's still Lent. Take care.
That's pure.
Thank you so much.
It can be friendships as well,
No, but
not just those types of relationships.
how do you bless somebody? Dan, how do you bless somebody who do you wrong? Like, really? We can't promise Pastor that. Sorry, Pastor.
Your business.
Pastor, I can't promise you that.
That is why all of your friendships is be like this. Like
That's all right. That's all right. Me want them to bless me.
yeah, real remote.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. So, Grant, you hear that? Stephen, you hear that? Or the fight?
That's exactly what I was thinking in my head. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
All this up there fight. You all this up there fight.
Oh gosh. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap up. Yes.
I did.
Let's do it.
I don't have a long time. Jesus.
You wrap up a long time?
Okay, so we're gonna say
That's
our
it? He's
goodbyes.
gone?
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today, everybody. That's
a long hangout, but got a drain. All the drain.
Go sleep now.
Big, were you convinced to undo it and undo your vaccine?
Really, what kind of question is that?
I don't know.
Mario, come with more.
Just don't go for the second dose.
You know what I'm saying? No, I haven't. My mind wasn't in check.
Time. I'll be getting my second dose.
All right.
If they say come in 12 days, I did it.
I mean, 12 days.
I did it.
I mean, you haven't felt any adverse side effects?
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
That needs another day.
Huh?
That needs another day.
Tomorrow.
All right.
All right, Bing.
Yeah. I feel like I'm Spencer and the rant mash me up. Oh gosh, I did.
Mash you up today. All right, buddy.
I want my woman and them to come and help me.
All right, if you're locked on, stay safe. Have a great day.
I want them to come and help me move.
Dan's going with that.
God.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy. Have a good one. Before I go, like to let you all know in the words of a wise woman, keep goodness in your thoughts, because we walk by faith, never ever by sight. We are here till tomorrow. No, yeah. We're here tomorrow. We're here tomorrow. Take it easy. We're gone.
God States applauds the essential workers for their commitment in the fight against COVID-19. To say thank you, for a limited time, essential workers can shop online with shopcarts.com/StVincent and get an additional 10% off with the code Essential10. Shop and save on housewares, appliances, and furniture. Plus shop with Ready Finance and pay $0 for 60 days. Now you can stay at home, shop online, and save. Thank you, essential workers, for your dedication and love to the essential.